Thanks very much for that, Nandi. We take you to this story now. Durban taxi owners are ramping up security in their vehicles. They've installed cameras that face towards the passengers in efforts to ensure their safety while travelling. Santaco says at least 70 taxis have been fitted with surveillance equipment in taxis operating in the North and South Beach areas in Durban. The Taxi Council is hoping that over time, all taxis in the province will have these cameras. Let's discuss the initiative further with Santaco KZN spokesperson Sifiso Shangase. Thank you very much, Mr. Shangase, for your time this evening. Can you tell us what was the biggest motivation behind this initiative?
Greetings to you and the viewers at home. Santaco in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, especially the Provincial Executive Council, took a decision in its meeting that we should improve the service that we are rendering for our commuters. And the first point of departure was to say we need to prioritize safety of our commuters as well as the safety of the drivers within our own vehicles. And we also thought that we are now living in the fourth industrial revolution. We also need to participate in such. We need not then be left behind. Cameras are one aspect which we had thought it is going to be imperative for us to install in our vehicles because they could provide evidence on issues pertinent to challenges that would have happened within a minibus taxi. Number one, if a commuter is complaining or is making an allegation about a certain incident within the taxi industry, it is now going to be easier for us to go back and replay the cameras so that we could be in a position to view what has really happened. And if somebody has lost his bags or anything to that effect, we could also be able then to go back to the vehicle itself and see where the item was placed and who took such an item. If probably a fight then takes place within a minibus taxi, we could also be able now to view who was the source of that fight. And even if then over and above that, you would find that our owners, they park their vehicles not within their own perimeters where they reside. They will be able now to visualize where their vehicles are parked, who is utilizing them when and how and where. The most important part of it all is for road safety because even the speed of the driver that is going to be utilizing whilst in motion with the vehicle, we could be able then to assess that as Santaco in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
Great initiative. We can imagine that cameras within the taxi would act as a deterrent for crime. But first, you have to have good buy-in from the industry itself. Have taxi bosses come on board? And how are you looking to roll out the remainder of that implementation?
It is very true that we need to get a buy-in from the operators themselves, that's being taxi bosses. There has been a buy-in because the long-term objective of this is to probably even have smart cards within our vehicles, whereby commuters are no longer going to be using cash when they are actually boarding our vehicles. The rollout has started within South and Northern Beach, but there are individual owners or operators who have had fleets of minibus taxis, and those operators or owners have been able then to fit cameras into their own vehicles. And this one, whereby an association is taking the initiative, is a success because the chairperson of that particular association is a member of the PEC. And this is a clear indication that there is indeed a buy-in, and we are promoting these cameras because in the long run, when you actually migrate to smart cards, you will actually require cameras to be installed in the vehicles. And they are indeed a deterrence to crime activities that will be associated with the minibus taxis.
So the coin has two sides, unfortunately. While protecting passengers, these kind of cameras and smart technology would also expose criminality and illegality and breaking of the law by taxi operators and drivers themselves. One only has to look at the numbers of unroadworthy vehicles, taxis on the roads, the number of taxis who do not follow the rules of the road, to know that there's a serious problem. And we know about the problems with regulating the taxi industry over the years. So how do you think you're going to bridge that problem?
Well, we are in the process of transforming the minibus taxi industry in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And this is also part of that transformation program, which our Provincial Executive Council has had. And the mere fact that we are able then to safeguard and be able then to look into how we could progressively improve our service. It's a clear indication that we've now turned a corner. And in terms of our drivers, this is a clear indication that we are not promoting any illegality within the minibus taxi industry. This is a business which should be run professionally, and these are professional interventions which the leadership is promoting within the taxi industry. If the driver is exceeding speed, this will deter him from doing such, because we could be in a position to call him into our disciplinary committee, and then the driver could then be disciplined for the speed that he's driving. And it's also going to be able then to probably even assist us in terms of the premiums that we are currently paying for the insurance companies, because by virtue now of monitoring, this on its own will be able then to reduce probably even the accidents and carnages on the road, which will then be progressive for the industry as well as for road accident fund from government, because there might be less claims, which will mean more fiscals for service delivery for the country.
As we move into the fourth industrial revolution, there's sort of a bit of a balancing act between people wanting to adopt new technology, but also at the same time a little bit fearful and still wanting to protect their independence, their privacy, and not want to be caught on camera when they don't know it. So what feedback have you had from commuters so far about these cameras in the taxis?
You have put it correctly that there are two sides in a coin. But currently, the feedback that we are obtaining from the commuters, they are very much praising the intervention, in a sense that we are moving with time. And as we move with time, it is going to be imperative for us to have such, because it's for their own safety, and it also guarantees that eventually they'll be able then to reach their destinations into which they are intending to go to. And over and above that, drivers are going to adhere to the rules of the road, and then there's going to be reduction of road accidents, whereby people are going to be safe when boarding our minibus taxis, and we would want to become the taxis of choice rather than obliging people to actually utilize our vehicles because they do not have an alternative transport, especially being the most commuter-driven transport, which is the public transport, faring about 65% in the country. And we also need to move with time and be innovative, in a sense that we would want commuters to be safe and feel free to actually board our minibus taxis. There have been incidents and reports whereby people have made certain allegations of GPV within the minibus taxis. This is going to be a deterrence, because the evidence towards that as well, and the assertions, we will have evidence on the allegations, and we'll be able then to deal with such matters. It will even be able then to assist investigators, if there are investigations that are required to be conducted on a particular vehicle where an allegation has been made with regards to how a person has been treated, or with regards to a loss that has actually occurred within the taxi which was in transit with the commuters.
Well, that's where we're going to have to leave it. Thank you very much for your time. That was Santaco KZN spokesperson Sifiso Shangase.